I'm making another tank of syrup up. I'm making about 75 gallons at a time, so it doesn't, you know, start spoiling on me. I'm not trying to feed super heavy, just keep them going. So I've got my tank set up with my recirculator to mix it, and the sugar I got, it's getting hard in these bags, and there's chunks, and there were chunks to start with. So I came up with the idea, instead of dumping it in the tub, it'll eventually, you know, go into solution, but sometimes it lays over in a corner and it's really hard to stir or mix up in there. So I've set this up with the barrel up here. It's got a hole in it. Be nicer if it was a little bigger hole maybe, but I dump the sugar in there. I use my pump system to pump the water from the tank as it's mixing up in there. And so my bigger chunks, nuts and bolts and rocks and other things that are in these bags are going to stay in this barrel and not end up in my pump and breaking it, or, you know, not mixing in. So anyway, it's slower, it's a lot slower, but it seems to be doing the trick. So we'll just go with it. And what's nice with this system is I can throw it in there and just leave it, walk away, and let it mix. And you know, I can dump another couple buckets of sugar in there and fill it up and let it run. It'll eventually mix up while I'm doing other stuff. So anyway, because I got to go play with the pollen patties again. Here we'll take a look inside the barrel. This has worked pretty well. It was plugging the hole up, it's quite small, when I would put it in, and it was a pain. Once I got this screen working in here so that the little chunks didn't fly in there, then it started running better. And that's what needs to happen, is the water needs to flow through it to dissolve some of these. And you can see some of the bigger chunks that are still in here. And I'll turn it back on and get it, you know, just keep it mixing while the rest is mixing. A couple of bags I did dump right straight in my tub because they were all, you know, fairly granulated, and I wasn't worried about big chunks. But you know, big chunks like that aren't going to help my impeller and the plug up in the system. So anyway, this didn't work too bad. It is slow, but if I came up with a bigger pipe coming through the wall, came up, drilled a bunch of holes in it, and then made a screen that fit down on it, now if it started plugging, you could just turn the screen and, you know, move it around a little bit, and it would keep flowing. And I think at that point this would be a pretty good system. And of course this is only when you've got dirty sugar. You know, this is floor sweepings and all kinds of stuff coming out of the mill, so you don't know what's in it. I found stainless steel bolts and nuts and rocks and other stuff. It doesn't matter to the bees, but it probably wouldn't do good to run a stainless steel nut through the impeller of my pump. So this is one way that I've come up with to try to filter some of that out. And I'll probably get the system working better with a bigger pipe and make it work. It's pretty handy. I can also dump quite a lot of sugar in this thing right here, leave the hose running and go as long as it's draining. But while it was plugging up, I had to be here and make sure it was flowing. So anyway, that's my latest project. So I grabbed the hose and put some fresh water in to finish getting out some of the sugar that was on the bottom. I've got my slurry, my syrup mixed up pretty good, so it's not wanting to take the sugar into solution as well, because it's already at 1:1. Eventually it would. So with the fresh water, it melted it quicker and got it in there. And I had a little extra sugar anyway, so we're fine on our 1:1. So these big chunks, as you can see, there's rocks and things in there too, and this is just a good way to keep the rocks out. So I'll take this out and dump it in my open feeder tomorrow, and then as I fill it with syrup, it'll eventually break down and somebody will eat it. So